So, hi, welcome back to Devil's Advocate, part two of Spies, Lies, and Super Yachts and Dark Money. I'm Tracey McLean-Low, your host this afternoon. And where were we? Yes, on the dark money. Follow the money. And where do we go from here? Well, when we take a look at some backstory with regards to Putin and Russia, Russia is known for a lot of spies, and Putin has killed off a few of his spies. In recent months, he's also killed off a few of his oligarchs, and it would seem their families, or at least threatened them within an inch of their own lives so that they did it themselves. It's all very well to be a Russian spy and an oligarch funded and supported by Russia and by Putin and the Kremlin. But when it comes down to opposing Putin or questioning his demands, a little bit of poison goes a long, long way. Anthrax, ricin. And yeah, he's renowned for bumping off his foes and enemies. But when we talk about spies and oligarchs, we hear of the oligarch super yachts. Interesting factoid about these wonderful little super yachts of these oligarchs is they are all ex-spy boats. And two of these particular spy boats have managed to make it back into Black Sea waters and into relative safety with regards to not being arrested, like so many other super yachts have been arrested around the world, or Russian super yachts have been arrested around the world. And this goes back down to their spying. And a rather interesting story that I heard on Super Yacht News, I think it's called Spies Super Yacht News on YouTube, is that many of these boats, having been arrested, are being arrested after they've dropped off what is considered possibly an FSB, a Russian crew, replaced with a crew of foreign nationals, which include British captains amongst their crews, so that when they arrive in the port set for their arrival, they then have a multilingual crew and no Russian agents on board. So those are the stories there. But these are spy ships that have been turned into super yachts that are registered in places like the Cayman Islands or Panama, possibly even Dubai, Greece, anywhere where they A, don't have to pay tax, B, are hiding all that wonderful, wonderful dark money, so that they can fund the likes of the Brexit campaign, or spy, or let's talk about floating hackers. Now, this is just a theory on my part, not necessarily, in fact, it seems more and more possible by the hour. Just before Russia attacked the Ukraine, they had sent one of their vessels to Irish fishing waters. And where they were positioned was strategically over an underwater internet and communications line to communicate to the UK, USA, military and civilian alike. And I believe it was the Irish fishermen who wanted this ship to leave, not only because it was in their fishing waters and stopping them from doing their fishing in safety, but because it was right over this communications line. And they were concerned that not only was Russia either tapping into this line, but the possibility of them cutting it. Now we're being hacked all the time. They're shutting down our hospitals. They're trying to shut down other important infrastructure. And surprisingly enough, it might seem silly, but even the little hacks that we're getting on Instagram and the dead screens we're getting and the threats on life and demands for money, We keep on thinking that there's singular cells, and it's certainly something that I've thought, that these are just singular black hat cells sitting around the world, either in Russia or China or Dubai or Nigeria or Pakistan or wherever. But the thing about the ships is these things are out at sea, which means if they're helping these hackers communicate, by the fact that the majority of them are on the ocean, they are very difficult to track. And again, I'm saying assuming that the majority of them are on the ocean. And we go back to maps like this, where we're looking at gas pipelines and Europe in desperate need of the gas and the oil that comes through these pipelines to heat their homes and cook their meals. And I don't know, it just keeps getting worse with regards to what we're actually doing. We take a look at information coming out of the Moskova, the Russian naval ship that was allegedly blown up by the Ukrainians. Now, I say allegedly because, while I can understand Putin getting incredibly upset and wanting to attack Ukraine again after doing this to his piece de resistance of his fleet, but he's keep on telling his people that it was a fire on board and it had nothing to do with the Ukrainians, which counteracts his need to get vengeful on the Ukrainians if it only started by a fire. And then you're taking a look at this wonderful little building over here. This is the industrial site in Ukraine, Mariupol, which currently is surrounded by Russian troops, aiming to not allow the remaining approximately 1,000 personages that are hiding in the structure. But it's not just a simple structure. This is almost 12 square kilometers of land and highly secure buildings in the main, but it's also a functioning steel mill. So the fact that Russia has not attacked it means this is very strategic. It wants Ukraine's steel mill. And this is really, it goes to stuff like this, which reflects why Putin feels a need to attack Ukraine now. There are some infrastructures he's happy to blow up, but others not so much. Interesting factoid about this structure is the fact that within this almost 12-kilometer square footage, etc., there are a lot of underground tunnels. Where they go, I certainly don't know. And the Russian military has no idea where they go, so they can't go in there. So you've probably got a good 100,000 troops rotating around this area, trying to stop 1,000 people from coming out. It's a city within a city. It's likely that there's canteens, so there's food, there's fridges, some level of power of some sort, generators that they can keep going on that. And yeah, with that all going on, one does have to wonder, should the Ukrainian people leave and vacate this industrial site and let Russia have it and back away from the war entirely? Or do they let Russia have it and then go and copper bomb the place afterwards? I mean, scorched earth. In little parts, in these little pockets around Ukraine, you can now see where the scorched earth is that they've already done. I don't necessarily think they've done a carpet bomb like the Allies did in Germany in 1945 when they won the war. But yeah, and once again, this is all funded by dark money, Cayman Islands, Panama, rich people. And I'm just pointing to the Republicans here, mostly because, well, yes, we do have the hack attacks. And those are the small guys, the ones that they're paying minuscule salaries and are hoping that they'll be part of the management of whatever it is they're trying to do with this mishmash of God knows what. So those are just the points to ponder at the moment, and we'll be continuing this again in part 3. I'll be chatting with Alana so we can go through these things and a few others. This war isn't just about Ukraine. And I honestly think that there's more dots and more pieces to this puzzle than even I can connect together. So for now, please do like and subscribe to Devil's Advocate. And we'll be back soon in our next episode, part 3 of this nightmare of epic proportions. Bye.